Kokuyor saçları, kara gözlerine hay 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 şimşekler çakar. Kızın akları, hani kokuyor saçları, kara gözlerine hay 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 şimşekler çakar. Parlayan dallar, tüm engelleri yıktıran hay 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 zaferler. Parlayan dallar, tüm engelleri yıkar. Koşuyor kızıl atlar hay 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 zaferler. Ovalar dağlar, tepelerden aşağı geliyor komşular hay 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 derelerden aşağı. Ovalar dağlar, tepelerden aşağı geliyor komşular hay 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 derelerden aşağı.
Daily Resistance being hosted by We Are Born Free Radio. Thank you, Bino, for having us here. I'm Johan of Daily Resistance.
And I am Adam, and I'm in the editorial team since 3 years.
We're gonna devote this program to the 10th anniversary of the occupation of Oranienplatz. And for this, we have invited activists that squatted Oranienplatz 10 years ago, exactly on 6th, and also activists that resided there, that have lived. And this shall go into the next anniversary issue of Daily Resistance that will be published this summer. So follow up the publication of the next issue.
Okay, I'm Adam. About the question, the most image was in my mind until now. I think the image of marching in the street, where you see the people by themselves marching for their demand, walking to Berlin. This was like a real empowerment moment for me. The street, and then we are in old school in Orlostrasse, and then again also some of us was in the tree again. Then you see that this movement have a lot of, like you say, a lot of kind of activity was taking place, and all of this point was so amazing and powerful that this new form of resistance being created in Berlin.
Wir haben aus dem Isolation selbst uns freigelassen. Das war mein Gefühl auf der Straße. Mit den anderen Leuten, die gleiche Hintergrund von Ausbeutung, Isolation, von dem Krieg geflüchtet sind. Wir haben getroffen, gemeinsam was kollektiv geschafft, was für unsere Rechte weiterkämpfen mit verschiedenen Farben, verschiedenen Sprachen, verschiedenen Traditionen. Das war ein wichtiger Punkt für die Rechte gekämpft. Das mein Gefühl war, unser Kopf war frei.
Towards the end of Oranienplatz, unfortunately, shortly before it got evicted. So I remember the eviction. I think it was really brutal. I remember the fights with the police. And For me also it was very special. Some of the slogans, break isolation, we are here because we were there. All of these slogans became so part and parcel of Oranienplatz. And of course I remember the people the most. Adam Bahar became like a household name. Napoli became a household name. Turgai, Tax, the newspaper was like quoting all of them almost on a daily basis at that time. So it's impossible to forget, and Bino also especially, and we became good friends. That's very special. We all became good friends, and 10 years on we are still together, and like Napoli said, Oranienplatz is still thriving despite the eviction.
I'm very happy to be here to talk about Oranienplatz and to remember, to recall all those memories. It was really very interesting, it was really very empowering, it was a very amazing moment for me. And it's on that day I saw that I have life back, because living in the refugee camp for 2 years, waiting the German God to come and save me, and he ended up being disappointed that the God of Germany waited to come and liberate me from the resident freight, lager freight, the right to have asylum, the right to study, the right to work didn't work out. So when the revolution tent started, mostly we were condemned as tent refugees living in tents. So it gave me the life back, and that's why I said I'm gonna be on the front, not behind, but on the front. So, and yeah, I was all the way in Passau, Breitenberg, Passau, in Bavaria. So I got to know very many people like Ashkan, Arash, Omid, Mohammed, and others I don't remember. And then from there again, when we moved, I think by then I didn't get close to Adam and Napoli until we came to Oranienplatz on 8th of October.
The 6th.
6. But mostly I got to know everyone on the 12th, on the revolutionary demo at Brandenburg tour. So after that, I saw that we are there and we have conquered German. So that's why I am here, and I am happy again to be connected and to talk with other comrades who were part.
Would be then, what impact did this time, like this, like war and occupations, have on you? Like changed you, like politically, your perception or emotionally?
My rights are concerned.
The impact is, I see first of all from ourselves. I remember one time Turkai and me and Patrick, we went for a workshop, I think Asta, if I'm not mistaken, and we were given 2 hours to talk. And Patrick came and said, Napoli, what are we going to do in these 2 hours? I can only talk 3 minutes. And I was like, calm down and let's see. And when we talk, and then the second time we went again there, and he was the one who occupied the whole 2 hours. And then I said, now what is going on? Say Oranienplatz. So he got the, like Oranienplatz teaches us how to talk. We were not this kind of, talkative. Now we became talkative because we have to talk all the time to different people, to the politician, to ourselves, to the people there. We make what do you call, march to, from Germany to, what do you call, from Brussels to where, Adam? To Luxembourg. Yes, from Luxembourg to Brussels, yeah, kind of. All right, and many tours coming, and that was the effect, and also the effect that in Germany they said, what do you call, the law, rules and order, law and order, right? Which mean you can shake the government of Germany. But we shook the government of Germany by coming, ourselves and walk, march, bus tour until we got ourselves breaking the resident fleet by ourselves. When they broke in 2013, it was already broken by us. So that was the lesson to every one of us that we can do it, and that was also motivation for us. If we can do it, others can do also. If in 2013 I went through other countries, breaking the big borders, let's say, not only resident free, but the big borders to, like France, Belgium, Italy, and other places, until when I came back without document. So I said, we can do it. If I can do it, people also can do it. So these are the motivation and the effect that we did. And other things that, following up, like, good shine, is it good shine? Good shine, that because people were not given money, cash, and people also have no bank. They were not allowed to have bank anyway. There was no money to put in the bank because we have papers only. So we were having files to put our, a good shine, and good shine was also abolished and other things. So that was for us the effect, the motivation, and the power that we have. And also we saw that the government was asking to have a round table. And the government cannot give you the hand or round table without, because we are nobody. Only when you have power and they see that there is power coming, we have to face it or do something. That's why they asked for the round table or negotiation. So that was also power for us. And I see it is, and until now the radio is here, is power. It's still going on, and that is our motivation.
Für mich war die Bewegung in eine Uni, eine Schule. Für mich habe ich viel von der Bewegung gelernt. Früher, ich war erstmal in einem Lager in Deutschland. Mein Gefühl war, hier ist ein Gefängnis und auch wegen Sprache, keine Ahnung, Gefühl, wie kann man was organisieren hier. Ich dachte, sehr schwierig. Aber hatte ein Potenzial. Mit jeder Geflüchtete, die ich gesprochen habe, alle hatten so Wut gegen die Isolation. Und war nur ein wichtiges Wort war, wir müssen immer warten. Warten bis wann? Niemand weiß das.
Movement politically, I think for me politically is that really great time was to see practically how the colonial effect and the colonial history work in Europe, because it's interesting that we are coming from different countries where we be colonial by European, and then when we come here that we have this image of democratic and freedom and so on here, and then it's the first time to give this shock and see how colonial is still working and practice, where to put people in lager, where to not let them go to school to learn the language, where you just break their freedom, and especially for me, I think, and also for a lot of people who's coming in Sudan, by the law of resident village. We see how it is that practically as colonial law was working, because it was in Sudan in the time of the colonial. From England we had this law called like closed law area, which was practiced between South Sudan and North Sudan. And if we are sitting here in this room now, I'm here and Napoli, we see that we are coming home from Sudan. We never say that we are coming from South Sudan or the North Sudan, because I think for me, myself, I left Sudan when it was one country, and it was not happening after that. But this law was practiced by the European government in the time of Sudan to not make the people in connection. And the outcome of it was a war more than 20 years, and then at the end, Sudan be two countries. And we come here and we see that the same law is being even giving another name and being dividing and dividing the people who is called refugee from another society, and they are not also free to move.
Amazing for me to learn about the Lager system in Germany. This was like the biggest impact, and because prior to being here in Berlin, I had experience working with migrants in 3 different countries, in Pakistan, in the US, and even in Britain, and there was no such Lager system in any of these countries, even as Britain, as bad it is, and sending people to Rwanda and God knows what. But they still don't have the Lager system, which really segregates migrants and refugees from the German society here. So it's very much a colonial system rooted in imperialism. So it had a powerful impact on me. And then it was on the positive side, it was really good for me to see the visibility, the strength, the agency of migrants who had experienced these lagers, and that they broke free from it and set up tents, and we heard their voices, and I ended up writing about it. It's my only regret is that I wasn't able to join earlier, and that I came more towards the end of it in 2013.
10 years ago, we were asking ourselves, how did the occupation came about? Like, what has happened before? And do you actually remember the 6th of October? What kind of day was it? Is there also like a special memory you've attached to this date? How did it all start in Berlin when you've arrived after the march?
Clear history outside, because I think some history is forgotten with the time. The march was the march with people working to arrive to Berlin. In the other side was bus tour was being organized. In this bus tour, we had the idea first, after we meet some activists out from Iran in Newminster University. It was one event where we also people talk about the march and the protests going on. And in that time we lived in Bramshire. It's like a small city near Mansbrook or something. And we joined this meeting there. One of the people was also I think Arash and some people were there, and Ashkan. And after that we had a meeting, and then we discussed different idea, and people come out with the idea of organizing bus tour to go through the other side of the march, because the march is going through one way, and the other way we organized this bus tour to go to different lager where refugees live, and give them flyer, talk to them, and trying to ask them to join the march. And I think through this we had like this bus with almost 40 people or something like this. We move like through the whole Germany, and then we meet with the march in Potsdam, and then we walk together. And from that point come this idea of making bus tour, because that's the first bus tour was taking place, and organized more people to the march. For me, that's the biggest memory where I remember how things started for me.
Yeah, just to stop you there, did you organize it, or Ashgan came with the bus?
No, there's no bus in the beginning. It came the idea to organize something, and then we had long discussion after that, and then people get the idea of like making this bus tour, and bus tour even start from our lager front of Bramsha, and we start 7 people of Sudan. We are only 7 people, and all of us was from Sudan. We were the first people who get in the bus. And then we start moving around. We start calling in first time our connection and ask them. That's why when we call you also as you are in Braunschweig, and we call you and we say we come there, and then we had this chance to collect some people and go with them. I think that's also important to put out because some history like this is not there, and the people just started to say, it's a march. And for me, that's the beginning. This is also different from different people because people join from different places. And 6th of October, I think, when they arriving in Oranienplatz, the idea in the beginning was to make it in Marianaplatz, the camp. This is also one history that this is also not being said all the time. People just start by saying Oranienplatz. But in the beginning was organized to have like info places with the tent in Marianaplatz. And then people heard about, okay, there's a lot of people marching.
Because that was actually camp, right?
Yeah, and they say, there's no place for these people there. We have to move it. And then people come to the idea to come to Oranienplatz and squat it from there. Because also Oranienplatz have a lot of history of movement and also like some kind of demo and place where a lot of political things start from there. And I think that's also really important to as Napoli said before, movement is something kind of river and all the time can go and change because of what's going on. And the situation changed from just a small info point in Marianaplatz to have a bigger place where people sleep and do political things there. And all this change for me is as a different point where I cannot say 6th October is important, or the time was before we, or even before all that, starting the point of suicide of Muhammad, who's the guy I was from Iran, who's get the letter from the Islamic government to be deported, and he is committing suicide, and then people realize, we are all in the list and this will come to us, and that's why people started to get out in the street, and then starting the people
Ja, dass für uns war Selbstmordlösung von Mohammed Rasama eine Alarm zum gemeinsamen Protest starten. Das war ein Notfallalarm.
Okay, I think it's getting interesting because this is exactly the bone of the memory. Because first of all, I know Turkey before Adam in Hanover. I was jumping through the main Heim where you were there. So he was busy all the time, and I was asking, what is this man doing? He was busy, and he was among the black people actually most of the time. And then somebody was like, no, he's racist. I remember this. He said, he's racist. I said, how do you know he's racist? He said, he's always sitting there and doing all this kind of thing. So it comes to me like, we actually don't know what is racist, and if somebody's busy. And my, let's say the association Blacks and Whites Together for Human Rights supposed to be started that time. And when I got to know Turkey, it was before I seek asylum. But then I was trying to register the association. It was not possible because I'm going to drop my papers for, like a visa is going to finish, so I have to go to is it Brightfield? No, Brightfield, yes, where I met you. So from there, I got the first people I know. It's Adam, and they were cooking for me, and I was occupying Adam. What do you call room actually? So, and they tried to say maybe Adam has something, going on with me, which is not true. And I remember all these things. And then they moved to where you said Bramsha. I don't know how to. Okay. And then they called actually, like Napoli, we have this and that. I say, oh, come over. So when I came, I think they were actually they will inform me, they are not sure if I will join or something. And then I start to join, and our friend Walid was like, Napoli, you can't join it, you are the only woman here. And then I was like, what? We were fighting, like a brotherly fight, it's like, Napoli, stay here. I say, no, we go together. So this is where I, start and I remember also it was still Sudanese alone with Ashkan, because Ashkan, and the point of where Adam said the 6th of October was not the point, but it was the end of all this collection, because as Turkai said, Mohammed Rasipa, when he committed suicide, then 10 people came out. One of them is Ashkan, and then they were making meeting, and they were like, Ashkan, go around and find the way to, make a tour to, other people. That's why Ashkan went until Brownsfield, because Brownshaw was actually the biggest support place, because he is also the big ladder. And that is why he went there, because the activists were there. Anyway, until 6th of October, I remember when we came, it was in the evening, because we all these bodies, we met, like the march, the tour, we met in Pasdam. And I think we spent there 2 days, or 1 day, I think, 2 nights, I think, in Pasdam, because to wait those who are still coming and all this. And then from there we marched to Berlin. That was 6th of October. And it was amazing. People were coming around and asking, you are there? And they were, it was raining actually. And then the people were giving us the umbrellas, just like that. I was like, hey, how come the people are just giving you something? Somebody coming from Africa, you can't just get something from like that, So I was amazed, like, wow, okay, people are there. And I saw the solidarity from that moment, that they are like, okay, you are, take this cloth and take this. And we even came heavily to Ranioplatz. So when we reached there were many cameras going around. And then I was like, okay, we are now celebrities, right? So, it was this kind of things. And then we slept there. Again, we were given the room, me and Adam, I think not the same day, me and Adam and Walid and other, I think 4 of us, after the second day of Ranioplatz. But the first day it was very cold, freezing. We were given some sleeping bags. And it was like, come on, sleeping bag, 2 people, me and other supporter, we were in one sleeping bag. It was horrible for me. And then after 2 days, we were given the place where 4 of us were there. I think somewhere in Hermannplatz, we were crossing the river, if you remember, Adam. And then after that, we decided not to, we have to be on the spot. We have to fight there. We have to experience, because for us, all this, call and everything is experience. If we are not there, we are not sleeping there, then we miss some experience. So that's why we came back and we stay at Ranioplatz until we occupy the school. And then at the end, actually, where we were actually having these kind of problems with the Lampedusa, because Lampedusa were taken with by the Crossback district, and Adam moved, I think, to the school, and they were in the school, but in the daytime they were there. So this is how I remember the resistance and the hot time also, because we were like, and Patrick. Also, Patrick was like, Napoli, you know what, I think it's very hectic here. We have to see another corner. And he started, after, I think, the end of 2013, he started to think of, doing something about African, stuff. And we then got into clash also with him. Sometimes I like to also say clash. It's not all the time, white stuff. As we say, white is good and black is bad, We have to, all this for me is good, is life, So it was like, Napoli, let us, fight this way, African. I say, what about Turkey? If we concentrate in African issue, what about Turkey? I was really like, we are not like this. And he really got into the issue, and that's why he has radio. I think it's because of also this kind of pressure from the Lampedusa. If not, we would have maybe slept until they just come one day and pick us, and we don't have anything. So I think that was also amazing for me.
Ino, do you also want to say something?
Let me play a song.
Brot, ich weiß nicht. Wer da Brot? Ich weiß nicht. Schau.
After this one, and
Like the beginning, you see it, and then also
Also nur was er.
dear friends and enemies, and yeah, you know yourselves. So big up whenever you are. So, what is amazing pleasure that I speak again about Oranian Platz and what my memory tells me, what I remember from the struggle. Yes, what Adam have said and Napoli Trugai, for me it was amazing, and most especially to see that we took the power by ourselves. That is the most important thing I remember. I was used to go on demonstrations organized by friends of refugees or migrants, and in Passau, in Munich, I was there. Even here in Berlin, I was here in 2011. I was invited by activists from Passau to come and join the demo. I was invited by activists to go in Wuppertal. Actually, that was my first time to meet Ozaren, to meet Rex Osa, to meet Mboro, to meet. There were other activists.
From Caravana.
Yeah, from Caravana. By then there were Caravana and then The Voice, and then there was Boldness, Munich, Boldness. So all these were motivative for me, moments. But when we took from the refugee camps, and also plus the protest march and all the way saying we're gonna go to Berlin, and we came again to Berlin and occupied the Oranienplatz. For me, that was very empowering, and seeing different people, like now my sister, that's where we got to know each other from Oranienplatz. I got to know very well Turgai at Oranienplatz. In Wolfsburg we met, but we didn't have a real talk. But when I came to Oplatz, I said, oh, this is the guy I saw there.
Because he's a silent person, huh?
And I saw Adam, I saw Mohammed, I saw Anur, even we have just talked about him here, cooking very well, but it's not just a cooking. It
And
was a political
we are still
cooking
eating his food now.
with love, and and also seeing, I thought there's no one going to come and stay with us, and because actually in October 2012 it was really very crazy summer. I mean winter.
It's cold.
It was really like as if Pegida were there and saying, more winter go, I have been going to chase away those people. But the warm welcome we got in Kreuzberg, most especially from all the leftist activists, it was really amazing. And for me, it gave me a good feeling that you are at home and you are fighting for the true cause. And that's why, as I said I'm gonna be on the front line, but also hard working. What even I was remembering when I was thinking about this talk today, that for me it was a moment of getting to work, getting to do something by myself and connecting it with others. So it was a moment of getting active, in the
You are actually
the
sleeping
protest,
last.
we had to be there. Actually, all of us who are here. If you don't find us at Humboldt University, you will find one of us at Fly University. You will find us in one of the cafe around. You will find us in one of the event going on in Berlin talking. So there were no more rest, there were no more sleep. And for me that was really empowering. And if I am off from talking, you could find me cleaning the camp. Because for me it was my home. And a person coming all the way from Africa, they call it Africa, and also a person who grew up without my parents, I was trying to work. So I could not sit in the info point, I could not just enjoy the vibes around and seeing the garbages around. So I had to clean my home, So that's why you could see me everywhere, which other people mistakenly were asking, oh, are you a leader here or what? I said,
It's true, yeah. I remember, it's true.
People were coming to me, oh, we see you everywhere, now you are having a room, are you a leader here? I said, I am a leader of my own struggle, and it was the same case for others, Napoli, you could find her busy struggling, where are we gonna get the money to get the food for tomorrow. Or even the evening, you know. Adam, you could find him, where we're gonna get the money for tickets, people to go to get their letters from the camp, you know. So everyone was, True Guy was a press person, you know. Everyone had something to do. Like our friends and others, they were, oh, what are we gonna do? Our friends have gone, oh, maybe you people, you go to the demo, I want to go, I cook, you know. Nasruddin, he said, oh man, hey, Patrick, we have, you join me, we have a demo, we have to make a banner, yeah, brother, yeah. And then there was another tall guy, this very tall,
Pascal,
you know, they were, you could find them busy, full of ink,
infrastructure.
colors, you know, and Amin, now is Papa, you know, so everyone was
Busy.
you know, so that was really for me saying, no, we are on the right course.
Talk a bit more about how Oplatz ended, how Oranienplatz was evicted. I think it was on the 8th of April 2014, if I'm not mistaken, in spring of 2014, after more than 1.5 years of its existence. What kind of memories do you have around it, and how do you also see the role of political players, of political parties, NGOs, the media in it?
Ich gedacht habe, die deutsche Regime hat eine richtige kolonialistische Taktik gebaut für die neue Oranienplatz. Oranienplatz war von draußen wie eine Kolonie, wie Karikatur, weißt du, wie in Afrika oder andere Kolonien. Und die deutsche System wie in Kolonie oder die generell imperialistische System, wie Politikertaktik gebaut haben, auch gleiche ähnliche Taktik für Oranienplatz, weil erstmal sie haben ein bisschen Zucker gezeigt. Okay, wenn wir freiwillig Oplatz räumen, dann sie haben gesagt, wir geben Aufenthalt für die Aktivisten hier. Aber das, wir sind nicht dumm, wir wissen schon die deutsche Geschichte, die kolonialistische Geschichte. Sie lügen immer. Das war ein Räumungsprojekt natürlich, aber in unserer Bewegung war eine Teilhabe, das geglaubt, dieser Vorschlag auch akzeptiert. Aber unser Team war mit dem Senat Senat, wir haben gesagt, das ist ohne Stempel vom Innenministerium und wie garantieren wir. Und der Person, wo vom Senat war, Direktor heißt sie hat gesagt, warum glauben Sie nicht ein großes Parlament? Wir haben gesagt, wie? Kennst du nicht die parlamentarische Geschichte? Das ist eine Lüge. Die lügen immer. Ja, sie haben geräumt, aber wir haben nicht umsonst gegeben. Wir haben am Ende so Kette gemacht und mit gekämpft auch. Nicht freiwillig gegeben, aber natürlich, sie haben mit einem Teil von der Bewegung eine Nacht um 3 Uhr von jeder Partei war eine Parlamentarin von CDU, SPD und Grüne. War da auch Teil von den Geflüchteten mit Schlagstock, Messer, keine Ahnung, Handschuhe einfach gebrochen und gegen uns geschlagen auch. Aber wir haben Widerstand organisiert, da war ein Tag gedauert. Waren auch viele Unterstützerinnen da. Das war eine kolonialistische Taktik, weil am Ende alle haben verstanden, das war ein Räumungsprojekt. Sie lügen schon, aber am Anfang eine Teil von unserer Bewegung bleiben, sie haben nicht verstanden. Ja. Und keine Ahnung, viel laufen, aber auch schöne romantische Teile. Wir haben immer getanzt und Ciao-Belle gesungen mit Arabisch, Persisch, Türkisch, Kurdisch. Das will ich noch hier spielen. yangığımda. Ciao bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Elleri bağlamış bulduğum yolum, her yanı işgal altında. Elleri bağlamış bulduğum yolum, her yanı işgal altında. Seni partizan, beni de götür. Ciao bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 beni de götür. Dağlarımıza dayanamam tutsaklara. Beni de götür, dağlarımıza dayanamam tutsaklara.
This dividing and rule because we have first the demand of abolishing lager, stop deportation, and stop resident fish. And this movement is starting from people from Germany, like the asylum seekers who live in Germany, and that's why we have these three demands. And 2014 or 13, I think, after the tragedy of Lampedusa, the people from Lampedusa come to Berlin and we welcome them and we say, we're all refugees, come to us, we have this discussion, and then we say, okay, we bring their demand right, and then after the arriving of Lampedusa, we have more demand to right to stay and right to study and work. And I think the politician after that use this right to study and work for these people can be easily met because they have residence, they will not be deported to their home country. If they deport, they will be deported to Italy. They have right to because they will not be deported to their country. Yeah? And then they demand just to have right to access to work and study. And from that they divide us and rule us. That's what I can say. And second point that I don't think Running Plus is finished of the way of the people say it is being finished by this action of the police. Because after this action of the police was Napolitan guy and Bino and some other people is on the strike on the other side. After that was also schools was there, and then we had like 9 days in the roof where we resisting like kind of new form of resistance. It was like really big attention was in Germany and in whole Europe, and it's also shifting the whole movement to another level of resistance. And then we had again this place we sit now is also for me it is maybe Bino can say not or tell me if it is right, but I think it's also part of the movement, this place where we sit now. Because in the beginning was also a place where people to meet and make flyer and make some things, and then it's developed the idea of radio and so on, and being taken by some groups, and until now, the Daily Resistance, who is today organizing this and hosting it with the radio, is also part of new way of resistance to document right. There is history and right articles and so on. This was a different other group also in Berlin, like Schlafplatz.org, this place who is until now exists, where people who's migrants or refugees who are still homeless can go to them and get place to stay for 1 week or 3 days. There is this group who was Lager Mobilization, was existing until last some times, I think I remember, with also visiting Lager and organizing some events there and so on. I think it's all things you can not see now, but some kind of structure is still in the city and part of this movement. And some of these people, you will see them there in these places. And that's why I think, I don't think that it's just shifting from place to place. And yeah, we were powerful because we were in the street. And we get like evicted from.
I said I regret that I came to the end, but maybe I didn't come to the end. I should take my words back. I came to the beginning of Oranienplatz in 2013 because it did, like the other said, you know, it was like just a springboard for other structures. So We Are Born Free, and the platform for We Are Born Free is the radio, and perhaps there's going to be another, you know, platform, and the Daily Resistance, and Turgay's Cafe, and Schlafplatz.org, and No Border Assembly, and the list goes on and on and on. So,
Welcome United.
and Welcome United,
Black and white together for human
and
rights.
International Women's Space, they had occupied the 3rd floor of the school. So it just, it was a springboard for so many structures, so many different forms of resistance. And yes, like what I remember, and feeling very shocked, and perhaps not shocked, maybe I shouldn't have been shocked coming from a country that was being born in a country that was colonized for 200 years by the British. Divide and rule is a very colonial tactic. I mean, my parents' generation saw it not so long ago, and this is how colonialism operates. So it was very, very tragic that they tried to control Oranian Platz with this method, which in the end I think didn't work, because we are still here in different ways, different forms, doing different things. And
Yes, our dear listeners, you are still listening to We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio, live and direct from our lovely studio here and in our city, Kotibuzatua, within the Babylon city of Berlin. You find us in the same place around the corners of Waldemarstrasse and Adalbertstrasse. I'm Bino Aka MC3Bs on behalf of We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio Group. We are still talking about Oranian Platz, the refugee resistance in Yemen, and the most overwhelming present in the minds of us and other fellow activists in Berlin, Oranian Platz. Yes, it was really very sad to see the end, the dramatic ending of Oranian Platz, which all of us we did expect. We expect that there will be a total violence from the Babylon system, but didn't happen, as we were always saying that we are here because colonialism is still alive and well. So, as my friends they have said, it was really the same thing they applied. They gave it to us. They left us to fight one another. Leave them there, abandon them, and create a problem, but leave them there. They will fight. They will, they will kill one another. They will dismantle one another, and that's what happened. And for us, it was a clear symbol that the German imperialism, colonialism, and all the atrocities, divide and rule, it is still ongoing on the project. When they decided not to listen to their asylum seekers, who have been outside for almost 2 years, protesting, demanding just simple rights, obeying everything. We didn't destroy everything. We were peaceful demonstrants, just showing our anger, as my friends have said, showing our disappointments with this so-called democracy. Everyone was expecting to have, and they resorted to wish for us good. We say, man, no, that's a total lie. So, okay. So, these so-called meetings, they started to exclude us because what the district and the Senate, the game they played is to call a dialogue between them and the protest camp, and the dialogue was to clearly identify people who can do the right job for them, So, for them it was clear that they are not going to listen to the asylum seekers in Germany, So what they do, we give these empty promises to these people who don't know anything about us, but having still great hope that we can do much while nothing. And then we use them to clear the camp, and that's what happened. Actually, I was among of the electorates who elected them, who elected our delegates. You know, I think I remember people strongly proposing my name, but I was, no, Adam is there already. True.
I was kicked out from the beginning.
Napoli, those voices are more stronger even. You know, let them go. You know, I started to be coward, you know. So, but in coward in keeping my eye vigilant, you know, and also watching the movements in the camp, and also we divided then duties. We had a lot of duties. Not all of us, we could go to this Shai's dialogue, you know. And so, so within the process, again, they failed, you know. They excluded, they started to bring in other, you know, excuses, away, blah, blah. You know, you go and discuss what you want. And then behind us, behind our delegates, they started having meetings with the friends from Naples. And that's how it was. They ignored our delegates completely, and so in this way they made clear strategies how they can really convince and assure this group of us that they clear the camp, you know. So they gave them conditions on empty promises, but again they gave them stronger conditions. You know, I think also we have maybe again to rethink about that they were deceived.
Yes, of course.
And maybe, you know, maybe we find another way to dialogue for future struggle, you know, and forgive them. Because I personally, I am still holding the anger about how violently the camp, we struggled to keep our resistance high, that he was violently evicted by ourselves, you know. I am still holding that. But on the other side, as we are also the view that maybe we should think on the other side of how we can maybe have a dialogue with them or a meeting to forgive one another and find another way forward. So how it ended, my friends said, you know, the camp was brutally evicted with scissors, with logs, you know, to hit anyone who was ready to resist, you know, brutal arrests, like our colleague here, Adam, you know, and so the ideas came in, you know, at the very spot. So Napoli came with the idea, hey guys, could we go to the tree or we resist, you know? That's how it came out that Napoli occupied the tree. It was that moment of how to hold the anger or to stop the violence happening, you know? So then we had to think otherwise, how they gonna sack us, how we gonna do it, you know? So I told her, I think I was not sure if I should go on the tree, you know? So, and how are you gonna get up there? They're gonna take us quickly, you know, away and maybe take us to the jail. So I said, okay, maybe we do hunger strike. And the tour guy came also up with the hunger strike. Then already Napoli had gone on the tree, and so that evening it was really full of tears, and we decided to go on hunger strike. And that very moment. I think it took us almost 3 months hunger strike. Of course, then the district, through even the Senate, through this lady direct Collard, they came up with the ideas of negotiating how to bring the info point, because those were the main demands from Napoli and also us on the hunger strike. So they decided that, yeah, we sign a fake agreement to bring again, all fake, you know, which also, it was a shame for us to see this happening in Germany, that also they can tell lies. So then what they can tell about Ugandan government or Sudanese or Gambia or whatever, you know, if this where we think source of democracy it is, and you know, they can tell lies and they can be corrupt, because what we witnessed on the eve of before the eviction of the Oranian blacks, they bribed our comrades.
I will need taxi
They
to go
bribed
there.
them to go and demolish the camp. They gave them, I think, 100 euro, 100, which later we got the information because later they fought, because one guy or two guys wanted to take all the money, you know? And then we got the information that they were bribed, you know, to use all possible means to take away the camp. And also we saw the violence in the German institution, that they armed them, you know, with the pangas, with knives, with the logs to beat anyone who could resist, you know. So we saw that they resisted this brutal aggressiveness. They tell us it is from them. We bought from them, you know. So it is a lot to say, you know. And they didn't end up there. They didn't saw that these people are really true fighters. Oh, they are on a cause. Again, they went to the school, the Hauptmann Schule, and what happened? Also, they did the same. They evicted the people. So
Make conclusion.
Yeah, but the struggle continues, as my friends have said. They have mentioned we are here, and also other people are on the other side, International Women's Space, you know. Now we have this Kiza Kantine, we have several Gaoplats and other people in Betania and Kanafin.
And we have running plots too. We are going to make
Yes, we
action.
have. So, yeah.